AICC, the Independent Packaging Association, takes great pride in honoring a man whose loyalty, wisdom, and friendship have helped forge AICC into a trusted and respected organization. Today, we honor AICC's founding General Counsel, Paul H. Vishny, for his 40 years of continuous service to AICC and to the corrugated and paperboard packaging industries. Paul Vishny has served as General Counsel and Corporate Secretary of AICC since the association's founding in 1974. He drafted our Articles of Incorporation, our Statement of Purpose, our bylaws, and our application for our 501c6 tax status. Tasks which could have been performed by any lawyer, yet ones which brought all of us, luckily, into knowing Paul. In the 1980s, there was a popular ad campaign for the brokerage house E.F. Hutton that went like this: "When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen."
I like to think the same thing applies to Paul Vishny, since we could easily say, when Paul talks, people listen.
Paul came to our notice when serving as a corporate attorney for Tri-Pac Corp in Chicago, a company headed at that time by Larry Falstein. Tri-Pac and several other independents were in the first group to gather in Chicago. The subject on the table: how will independents survive in an industry dominated by large players hostile to their interests? Thus, it was that AICC was born. In those early days, when the industry was rocked with turmoil, Paul was the voice of calm amid the storm. He was the attentive, sometimes assertive presence at our meetings of our board of directors and its various committee meetings. He corralled the container board committee members in their talks of lawsuits against the integrated companies.
A major focus of AICC in those early days was on antitrust issues, and Paul's expertise and guidance were so critical to the association, not only before government, but in industry as well.
Paul chartered Corrugated Insurers Association, the offshore holding company that formed the basis for AICC's self-insured health and life benefits, and, to his credit, sat through hours and hours of dreadfully boring meetings. In our board of directors meetings, he acted as secretary, parliamentarian, and referee among board members, roles that even today he performs with aplomb. An ordained rabbi, Paul is also our father confessor, a moral compass for our actions. His most public functions have been his regular appearances at AICC national meetings, where his antitrust statements gained fame for their stern but gentle eloquence. He was also a featured presenter from time to time, instructing members on legal aspects of their businesses or on updates to the antitrust issues important to our industry. On antitrust, Paul was the greatest advocate for a fair, level playing field, writing several editions of AICC's antitrust guidelines. He was also the catalyst for ICPF's 1991 film Playing It Straight, a comprehensive antitrust educational video offered free of charge to the entire industry. He was the first to recognize the contribution of the industry suppliers, urging AICC to welcome its associate members when other groups in the industry would not. With this, he urged us into profitable partnerships and industry expositions. The corrugated shows in Paris in 1994, 98, and 2002, and our current longtime partnership with Tappy in our jointly owned Supercore Expo franchise are the fruits of Paul's work. He also waded through the U.S. Department of Justice and the Canadian Bureau of Competition to lay the groundwork for our first pack program, whereby members can jointly serve customers with multiple shipping locations. In all these things and countless more, Paul Vishny earned his seat in AICC's Hall of Fame in 1991. Yet, by all his contributions, even that high honor somehow doesn't seem to suffice for all he's done for us. As Paul retires at the end of 2014, after 40 years of service, this annual meeting will be his last official function for us. He will, by virtue of the vote of the membership, become our Counsel Emeritus.
You know, Paul Vishny's wisdom has served every member of AICC, every past president, every past chairman, and anyone who's ever served on the board of directors. In fact, I don't think there's been a week in my tenure as AICC president where I haven't had an issue to at least once run by Paul.
Now, as we gather here for Corrugated Week, let us all say, thank you, Paul, for a job well done. And let us all wish Paul and Michelle Godspeed and hope that they will continue to grace our meetings and our lives with their presence.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul, for such kind words.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.